Hello and welcome. Thank you for listening to the Welcome Matt podcast. I am your host, Matt Caldwell. I'm here with Jared Laxer.
How's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing today?
I'm super happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad that you could make it. You're from out of town.
Yeah, I live in North New Jersey, right outside New York City. I'm in town for a few days, so I'm happy that we could schedule this.
Yeah, you actually grew up in the town where they filmed The Sopranos, right?
Yes, I live in North Caldwell, New Jersey, which is famous for two things. It is where they filmed The Sopranos, where also in the show Tony Soprano is actually from. And it's also famous for being the last target of the Unabomber. That house is in my town.
Wow.
You know what's crazy? Those two houses next to each other. Not even joking.
It's like a black hole of badness.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Well, coming from the black hole of badness is Jared Laxer.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. We know each other. We went to school together in Toronto, so we are a couple of comedy grads.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, now podcasting. And what else do you get up to? You're telling me about this this film project that you're working on.
Yeah, I'm working on this web series. It's called Anyone About Anything, where me and a guest, we go to a public spot and we take a sign that says, "We will talk to anyone about anything," and then we talk to strangers about whatever they want to talk about.
So do you have to be like incredibly well-versed, or do you just fake it if you don't know?
Oh, no, we just fake it if we don't know what they're talking about. We try to learn. We just try to have real open conversations with these people. We've done a couple tests, and my favorite thing that's happened so far was we were in a park, and a guy came up to us, saw the sign. He was seemingly on a first date, maybe a blind date with this girl.
Ooh.
And he really wanted to talk about fly fishing. He was super into it. And I'm telling you, like 10 minutes in, the girl, she like looks at him and she starts walking away. And then he looks at us and he looks at her. And then he kept talking about fly fishing. He was really into it. And then after like another minute or two, he said like, you know what, I better go see where she went.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, I think you should.
So what was happening on this date? Do you think this was pre-meal, post-meal?
It was early in the day. It was like maybe like, it was probably like right after lunch, you know, maybe like 2:00 in the afternoon. And it was on a weekend, maybe it was Saturday, I believe. And we were just in a public park, and you know, they seemed to be getting along fine. It seemed to me when they walked up like innocent flirtation, like the kind of flirtation you would see on maybe a first or second date.
Yeah.
You know, it seemed like they were two people getting to know each other.
They're being playful.
Exactly. And they seemed to be getting along. And when they got to me, he was like, forget about this girl, you know, whatever. I got some people I got to educate on how to fish with flies.
Maybe he just likes everybody. He was liking her, then meets somebody new, and every person he meets just lines up, just likes him.
You know what? I would like to be that kind of guy. I wish
Yeah.
I could be like that.
Where you're just immediately welcoming.
Yes, exactly. That, except for the part where you ignore whatever was happening beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
Because that
yeah.
seems like a major flaw.
Yeah. You know, you make a lot of short-term friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
So what did he tell you about fly fishing? Do you remember any bullet points?
Nothing too in particular, actually. We were all pretty consumed with the fact that he was just ignoring this woman who a moment ago they just seemed to be like good buddies, and now she didn't have a word to say.
Well, you know, if he's sad about the breakup, he could come talk to you about anything.
Anything
really.
he wants.
Anything.
That's the deal.
Yeah. All right. And we're on the Welcome Mat podcast with Jared Laxer. Now, what we do on the Welcome Mat, I invite people to come over and they choose from a list of games, a few activities, a few conversation games that they want to play. And we're going to play those right now. We're on the Welcome Mat with Jared Laxer.
How's it going? Happy to be here.
Yeah,
Still.
happy to have you. And the first game that we're going to play today is Deathmatch. So this one, the little spin that we do on this, one of these people is real.
Correct.
One is fake.
Right.
Well, presumed to be fake.
Right.
Yes.
There's no real evidence, but we've heard stories.
Yeah, there's no hard evidence on this. So today, Christmas just passed, and Deathmatch today, we're going to have Santa Claus taking on President Donald Trump. So for the sake of argument, this is after Donald Trump is sworn in as president, which is scary.
Right. We're recording before that happens.
Yeah, we're recording before that happens. So in this scenario, he has all of the power of the president. He has a military. He has a Senate.
Man, just hearing that is so depressing. But
Yeah. Yeah,
Sorry.
that is your country as an American citizen.
Oh, yeah.
You have to deal with that scenario for a while, but maybe not. Maybe Santa Claus takes him down. So in this battle, who do you think has the advantage?
Right off the bat, my thinking is Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Santa's greatest asset is his super speed, because he obviously can get around the world to deliver all these presents. Okay, it's never come to my house. That's
Well, yeah, it's the religion thing,
yeah,
I think,
it's fine. It's not. I don't think Santa is an anti-Semite. I just think it's not part of his job. It's his employers.
Well, you got to cross a few people off the list if you're gonna make all of the world.
Right.
So it is impressive. How many? Okay, if there are 7 billion people in the world,
okay,
do you know a rough estimate how many celebrate Christmas?
I don't at all.
I gotta think it's at least half.
Yeah, I would call it half. And that's still a lot of people. And to get to this is the thing, he probably hits each time zone at midnight. And my guess is it's got to take him 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Can't take him more than that, because then you got to get to the next time zone and hit all those houses.
Maybe he can time travel.
Maybe he can, and there have been theories and studies on this because he doesn't seem to age.
Same guy.
Yeah.
And we know exactly what he looks like.
We do.
Yeah.
Which is strange for a fictional character. This is the thing about I hate saying this, President Donald Trump. This is the thing. He is the kind of guy he doesn't act with ration. He acts when something upsets him. He goes right for it.
Yeah.
Right now, so far, it's been via Twitter. I can't imagine how scary it's going to be once he has more weapons at his disposal than Twitter. So, considering,
does Santa have Twitter?
You know what? I think I've seen the account, but I don't know if it's verified. Yeah. Trump is definitely a verified account.
Yeah, the real Santa.
The real Santa.
Yeah.
I actually think the one that's him is Real Santa 69. I believe that's his. Trump would probably nuke the North Pole right away.
Yeah. Which
is not a smart tactical move, because Santa will not be at the North Pole if there's going to be a war with the President of the United States. If it's a sneak attack, maybe he gets lucky and Santa's home, but Santa's the kind of guy who's all over the world.
Yeah.
To peg him down to one spot is a dumb move.
And he can see what you're doing.
Exactly. He knows when you're sleeping.
Yep.
He knows when you're awake.
He knows when you're tweeting.
He knows when... Well, yeah, that's how he knows when you're sleeping, because when you're awake, you're tweeting.
Yeah.
This is the thing. Trump has the nukes. He has an army. He has Air Force One. But Santa has that stuff on his side. Replace army with elves.
Mm-hmm.
Replace Air Force One with the reindeer. Replace Ivanka with Mrs. Claus, because that's who Trump really wants to be.
Santa,
yeah.
Well, yeah, he does have the elves. They could be making weapons instead of toys.
Absolutely. Now, the question here is it against the morality of an elf to create a weapon? Now, these are creatures who their entire existence is around bringing joy and making toys for this world. So, would an elf be able to bring himself? Would he be able to bring him elf?
The elf on the shelf can bring himself.
Oh my God. I don't think the elves would be too cooperative, which is a huge advantage for Trump. Now, this is something I can't figure out. I've been talking about how Santa would avoid being killed. How would he do the killing, though? Santa doesn't seem like the kind of guy who is a real murderer. You know,
he doesn't have that rage. He's got the rosy cheeks, but it's not from anger.
Exactly. He doesn't want to put himself on the naughty list. No. He knows the ramifications of the naughty list.
Yep.
So my guess is that Santa would probably try and set up some sort of ruse to get Trump to fall in and maybe kill himself somehow.
Yeah, because we don't know, is Santa real? Where is he hiding?
Exactly.
But we can track his sleigh on the news every Christmas. I see that they're tracking him, so they know exactly where he is. Do you think Trump would use that against Santa?
Probably. If that technology is owned by the American government and they can use it year round, that's a huge disadvantage to Santa. Trump will kill. Okay, I don't think there's any
No.
debate about in this theoretical thing. I'm not saying he's killed before or whatever.
No,
but
no. Just people's dreams.
Yeah. Oh man, just hope. Just people with the name Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton and Marco Rubio. All right, never mind. Point is, Trump knows how to eviscerate an opponent. So even though my initial leanings were Santa, I think right now I've talked myself into Donald Trump, which is a horrifying sentence to say if it wasn't in the context of this deathmatch scenario.
What about all the children? I mean, Santa Claus could potentially use the children of Earth to rally against Trump.
That is not something I had thought of. That's actually a really good point.
The Christians could help him out.
Well, yeah, it's a Christian dilemma would really be who do you support in that? Is it Santa Claus who, you might just be discovering, oh my God, I didn't think you were real my whole life. I thought when I was a kid you were real, and then I came to think you were fake, but now you're real. Mm-hmm. Does that put enough faith into them to go with,
What about that time I asked for that president, you didn't deliver?
There's that, yeah.
That childhood grudge.
Oh yeah, I think it would create a real civil war in at least the United States. I mean, globally, it would definitely have some ramifications. I wonder, it's funny, Trump, I don't think anyone would be with Trump as far as other countries go. Governments, it's just not smart to fight Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Right? It's not good publicity to fight Santa Claus.
No, it's not the image you want to put out there.
Unless your name is Donald Trump and whatever your publicity you have doesn't seem to matter. He really proves the phrase, any publicity is good publicity. It's crazy. I think that Santa would have allies in, you're right, I think the religious right would be more with Santa than they would be with Donald Trump.
They'd rather impeach Trump than to cancel Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Christmas is a bigger deal in the United States than the president.
Politically,
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. More people celebrate Christmas than vote, and that is a fact that I made up. So,
but it sounds believable, so we're going to go with it.
Yeah, that is.
Double down on it.
Yeah, it's a fact that I didn't make up. There you go. Double down. Double down. Hell of a sandwich, hell of an opinion. Thank you.
So you think Trump would be victorious?
I think Trump would be victorious. I think eventually the military tracks him down, and I think he makes it a public execution. I think he puts it, I don't know if the actual killing happens on TV or Trump TV or Twitter or whatever he's going to have, but I think he's going to be very public about, we caught this guy. He's a bad guy. He's the worst guy. Everybody says so. And we need to do something about it. And this is what happens to my enemies, even if they're Santa Claus.
He's watching us. He's ISIS.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
He's the founder of ISIS. Santa Claus founded ISIS.
And Santa has no real allegiance to any particular country.
Right. And what's crazy? Santa could always do some psychological warfare. And that Santa could just give him some presents and put him on the good list. Because how Trump responds to compliments. He says good things about me. I'm going to say good things about him.
Yeah.
Get all buddy. And then stab him in the back with a chiseled candy cane.
Chiseled candy cane.
Hell yeah.
Wow. That's very specific.
Santa is a messed up guy.
He knows when you're watching.
Yeah. Wait, Santa knows when you're watching?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Because he's watching you watching.
That makes sense. Yeah. Who watches The Watchmen?
Indeed. So, death match. We're death match. Thank you for being here, Jared.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. We're on the welcome mat with Jared Laxer.
Psyched to be here on the mat.
Yeah, on the mat. And we're about to play a little Marry, Screw, Kill.
A classic game.
Yeah. So I want to do these as themed.
Sure.
And then today we're going to do a little X-Men themed.
Okay. All right. I can be down with the X-Men.
The X-Men, yeah. Now, women in this one are also under the X-Men banner.
Sure.
What do you think about that in this year? Do you think we should change the X
to X-People?
X-People?
Time Magazine went from Man of the Year to Person of the Year.
Yes.
As far as language goes, I do understand that in English, men can be a collective for men and women.
Yeah, like humankind.
Yeah. And for the sake of a flowing word, X-Men is better than X-people. Because X-people sounds like people who used to be people and are no longer people.
Yeah, we're all people, no matter what powers we have.
Exactly. That being said, I do realize that there are people who could be sensitive to X-men and their own gender, identities or issues or whatever. So I don't discount that in my saying that keep it X-Men.
All right, let's get down to it. Okay, so marry, screw, kill.
All right.
To choose from, we have Storm, Jean Grey, and Mystique.
Okay. Storm, Jean Grey, and Mystique.
Yes.
Now, I've thought about this a lot, as a kid. Really only one of the three. But Mystique, right off the bat, if we're talking the character, if we're talking just her powers, you go screw. Because there's a lot of avenues and possibilities you can go down with a person who can change their body at will. Yeah. That's, a pretty incredible
even
power.
To animals and stuff like that.
If that's, if that's what floats your boat, then...
She could even change into a boat.
You could even, if that's what floats your animals, then change into a boat.
Or a fish.
Or she could be any fish in the sea.
Yep.
Literally or even figuratively. Yep. If we're talking about the person, though, Mystique historically is not exactly the most stable-minded of them. So you would either have to go kill or marry.
Yeah.
Get her out or keep an eye. Believe me, I'll go hard answers at the end, but I'm working towards it. Storm seems, as far as like the human, the person, the most normal of the three. Jean Grey, with her telepathy.
Telekinesis. She can move things with her mind and get inside your head, know all of your thoughts.
Exactly, and I would hope that if I entered a marriage with a person like that, there'd be enough trust that it wouldn't matter. But I personally know that I don't think I could trust marrying someone who knows what I'm thinking all the time.
You don't want to turn out like Cyclops.
No. That guy's in a lot of different pieces.
Yeah.
Or was he vaporized?
He just went by a lake and cried a bit, I think.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think when I say that out loud, what I've said about Mystique, what I've said about Jean Grey, and Storm being the most normal and her powers being, what they are, I think, and I'm not 100% sure, you marry Storm, you screw Jean Grey, and you kill Mystique. I think it's real tough.
So, but how are you going to do it?
Okay. Storm. If I am marrying Storm, it's definitely going to be an outdoor wedding.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah. Good, bright day. It'll be a sunny day.
Oh, yeah.
You can count on that. Imagine she did do rain, though. You'd be like, all right, this is
she is
ridiculous.
A huge Alanis Morissette fan, so she might want some rain on her wedding day.
Yes.
But the problem with that, though, is if you're outside on your wedding day, wedding day is, as far as I understand, I've never been married, is a huge day for the woman and just a regular day for the man.
Well, no, every little boy thinks about their dream wedding, I'm sure. Right?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh, look at me before being super political on my gender norms and now going right back on the other way.
Well, anybody can marry anybody.
Yeah, of course.
You can marry Storm if you want.
Yeah, I could. So you go outdoor wedding, but this is the thing. If you mess up, if it's a bad day for her, everyone's going to know.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's going to know.
Yeah.
So maybe
you don't need telepathy for that.
No. Everyone will know as soon as the hail starts. But maybe that keeps everyone on their best behavior. Maybe no one gets too drunk. Mm-hmm. Maybe everyone's fine. There's no real family issues. I don't know much about her family. I don't know if they really go into that stuff in the stories. I think she's an
orphan. I think in the comics she's an orphan.
Yeah. So even
there won't be a lot of family on her side, which might kind of make her sad.
Yeah. Right. It might make her sad, but as far as I understand, at this point, whatever point I would marry her, I would assume it's a more mature point in the Storm timeline. And I believe earlier on in her timeline, the weather was more affected by her mood, and she learned to, control the powers more as she goes along. Yeah, so I would hope that she's at a point where even if she's sad, maybe it will only drizzle.
Just a little drizzle.
Just a little drizzle.
Now, do you see any kids in your future?
No, but that's going to be my answer with any X-Men. And that's because I'm not, if we get a kid, we're adopting a regular kid. I'm not raising a mutant, brother. And I'm not saying this as anti-mutant. I'm just saying I don't want one of them in my house.
Well, that's a bold statement to take. No mutants in my house. Jared Laxer. That's his political stance on mutants. When you run for office, they're gonna play this back.
Yeah.
Like, remember when?
Yeah, call me Stryker because I am anti-mutant.
So you're gonna marry Storm though. You're not that anti-mutant.
I was getting into a bit there. I hope that read that it was a bit and that I'm not anti-mutant.
No, you made the statement. Stand by
it. Jean Grey.
Yeah, Jean Grey.
This is since I picked her to screw, that's a pretty boring answer because as far as like powers go, like telepathy is, I don't understand how you. I picked her almost as a default because of the other two who I picked. Because of that being boring, I'm going to switch. I hope that's okay at this point. I'm going to talk about screwing Mystique and killing Jean Grey.
You're going to kill Jean Grey.
Well, I think that's a more interesting thing to talk about.
Yeah, how do you kill Jean Grey?
It's going to be hard because she knows everything. Can't plan anything, right? It would have to be a spontaneous kind of thing.
Yeah.
So how do you plan to be spontaneous? That would be the hardest thing to do, is to kill Jean Grey.
To not think about it.
Exactly. Or you would have to recruit other people. So if she was reading thoughts, she'd only get pieces of the puzzle at a time. I think she's a good enough mutant and a smart enough person that she'd get it all eventually. Yeah. But
if you were to screw Jean Grey, she would be in your mind the whole time.
Yeah.
So how many times in your life have you been with somebody and you didn't feel that connection with her?
Oh,
I think you're going to get that connection.
That's a good point. Because in my head, I forgot, like, oh, yeah, she's reading minds, but I forgot she can put those thoughts in your mind, too.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot. Oh, yeah. While I was reasoning it, it's a two-way street. Oh, that would actually be, like, terrifying erotic, which I'm totally into.
But in a marriage, no way. You don't need that. You don't need to be doing the dishes 25 years into a marriage and think, like, maybe I should have, hooked up with Storm instead. And then Jean Grey just strangles you or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Kills you with a cup.
Oh yeah, she's done it. So
death by cop. And also she turned into the Phoenix, which
is wasn't even debating on Phoenix. Yeah. I was talking about just straight up Jean Grey. That's a whole new.
That would be the ultimate vicious ex-girlfriend to have.
Yeah. Hell hath no fury like a Phoenix scorned.
So you have to kill. Yeah, Jean Grey, which means that you're going to have sex, one night stand,
hell yeah,
with shape-shifting Mystique.
Yeah, this is the thing. I'd obviously try it in a whole bunch of different ways, and by ways I mean her in different shapes, in different forms, in different bodies, whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing that I'm curious about is how it might feel if she changed while I was doing that. While we were in the act, if she changed from one person to another, what that might do. There's like a psychological thing about that.
Yeah.
Like, almost like it would almost be like a hallucination to see something. I mean, I guess seeing it all anyway in real life, that would feel like a hallucination. But to feel it on you when it happened also would be, man.
That would be an event.
Yeah. This is like Welcome Matt After Dark.
It's a dimly lit Matt. Marry, screw, kill. So final answer. You're going to marry Storm.
I'm going to marry Storm.
You're going to kill Jean Grey.
I'm going to kill Jean Grey.
Somehow.
We'll figure it out.
You're going to kill a psychic somehow.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned a team.
Yes, that's the best I can come up with is a team where we have two main targets who are going to kill her. So she has to focus on more than one person at a time. That's really
sneak up behind her.
It's, again, hard to sneak up on a psychic, but if you have enough people, I think eventually you can get there.
And how would you go about seducing Mystique? So you're out at a bar.
Okay.
You see Mystique.
I'm not sure how I would know, but let's say we start talking and she tells me she's Mystique, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or about the powers.
Yeah, like, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you see her coming out of the men's bathroom.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so the knowledge is in my head.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, can I get you out of that body? That was a
out
real,
of that skin, and
yeah, that was a real ugh. I could just,
real winner.
I could feel like the grossness as I was saying it.
You can feel the rejection as you're
yeah.
speaking.
This is the thing. I feel like Mystique would be into adventure.
Yeah.
So
espionage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if we're at a bar, I would probably maybe, start with like a game of darts or something like that. Some sort of competition.
Pool,
shuffleboard, whatever's at this bar.
hide and go seek.
Bocce. There's a bar in Brooklyn that's got a bocce court in it.
Oh.
It's pretty Brooklyn. But
yeah,
I think you start with competition, and I think the way to get her is to beat her. I think she's the kind of person you don't let her win. You go hard. And
so are we talking like BDSM?
No, not that kind of beat her in the game.
But do you think she would be into that?
She could be.
Yeah.
She really could be. She does seem to, if you go by her character, she does seem to be in painful positions a lot.
Yeah.
Between two sides.
Yeah.
So maybe she'd even like a third to be between.
Yeah.
There you go.
This is getting more and more graphic.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh, boy.
All right. We'll cut it there. Jared needs to relax a bit. Relaxer. We're on the welcome mat. Marry, Screw, Kill with Jared Laxer. He's going to marry Storm. He's going to kill Jean Grey. And he's going to screw Mystique.
Yes, I am.
We're on the welcome mat. I'm Matt Caldwell, your host.
I'm Jared Laxer, your guest.
Yes, thank you again for being here. It's been an amazing time. We played a couple games.
Oh, yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
The next one that we're going to do is Dist Connections.
Correct.
You have heard of the Craigslist misconnections where
Sure.
you can go in, where you see somebody of interest, but you didn't have a chance to approach them or talk to them.
Right.
This is a little parody on that, where you tell of a time where you met up with somebody and you knew just from the beginning there is no chance that you're ever going to connect with them.
Sure.
You're just utterly repulsed and disgusted by your presence.
Yeah, well, there's a clear story that comes to my mind when you asked for that. When I was 15 years old, I went to see Streetlight Manifesto play a concert at Starland Ballroom in New Jersey. And I was with my buddy Justin. We were like, towards the back of the room, sort of like dancing by ourselves. Nothing too crazy. We weren't in the pits or anything like that.
Ooh, the pits.
Yeah, there's they get some pits going.
It is a manifesto.
It is. So we're dancing, and I got a tap on my shoulder. I turn around, and there was this gorgeous girl, and like age appropriate. I was a 15-year-old. She looked me up and down. This girl's wearing, I'm telling you, she's wearing like a sports bra and booty shorts and nothing else. And she looks me up and down, and she looks like she's thinking. She looks me up and down again. She shakes her head and she goes, "Nah," and kept going.
Nah.
It wasn't no. It was nah.
Or even like hi or what's your name? Just nah.
Nah.
Didn't even want to hear your voice.
Nope. It was like she was fucking window shopping. It was not
looking
great.
Looking for romance.
Yeah. It was looking for romance. If that's the way you do it, maybe that's how they did Tinder 10 years ago. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I got swiped left way before that even was the thing.
Got swipe left.
Yeah.
On the dance floor. Streetlight Manifesto.
Streetlight Manifesto. Yeah.
Did you see the girl again later on?
No, that was the only time I saw her that night, and yeah, it was nuts. I do have one more story about a time I was utterly repulsed. That also happened at Starland Ballroom.
That's where you go to be like creeped out.
Well, this was super creepy. There was a dude. So I went to see a power metal band called Sonata Arctica. They played it was the night of the Super Bowl, the first time the Giants beat the Patriots, and they did this show where a band came on before the first half. Band came on. And at halftime, a band came on at the end of the show. Was
that the year that New England was undefeated all the way until the Super Bowl and then lost by like 1 point?
Yes, that's the game you're thinking of. This guy kept coming up. Again, I was with my buddy Justin. And this guy kept coming up to us like during the game. And he was, I don't love these words. But he was saying stuff like, Tom Brady's a faggot. He's sucking dick all the time. And just over and over. And we were just like, all right, whatever. And we just kept gunning away for this guy. And eventually he came up to us like towards the end of the game, once it was clear that the Giants were finally going to win. And he was like, yeah, I bet Tom Brady loves that pounding he's taking in his ass. And Justin, without missing a beat, puts his arm around me and goes, we're a couple. And I kiss him. And
nice.
The dude,
well played.
The dude did not talk to us again.
No, he wouldn't.
No, he wouldn't.
He realized that you are different types.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So this would have been what, like 2000 and
I believe it's 2008.
8?
Yeah.
8?
2008 or 2007, I believe was the first time they did that. So that would have made me also like 16. I guess these were around the same time. It might have been the same year. One in the summer and one in the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something like that, I believe it still could happen. I believe it still does happen, but hopefully less with time, because there's just no place for it anymore.
No, there isn't.
No.
It was really upsetting as far as, hearing that stuff out loud, but it was cool to get him away for like that. That was great. It was a great moment for us.
Well, I want to say thank you for being on the welcome mat. It was a lot of fun.
It was
you here.
so much fun. Thank you so much. This is a really great operation you got going.
Yeah, you just came into town for a few days, and I wanted to have you swing by.
Yes.
Play some games.
Glad we did it.
Yeah. Thank you for your time.
Thanks.